So we have 41 minutes to kill before the bus gets here. I could probably walk back faster than that, but nah. I worked Red Racks day before yesterday and today. It's this whole thing, right? Like, they were like, hey, come in on Monday for onboarding at 9 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So I show up at 9, and they're like, you're late. You're supposed to be here at 7:30. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, did onboarding and everything. And then they're like, hey, let's put you on the floor. I'm like, okay, what time do you want me to work until? And they're like, oh, we're staying till 4. You can stay with us till 4 if you want to. I'm like, well, I have a meeting today, because I had a meeting yesterday. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, this one manager, she's like, oh, okay, yeah. And then it came time for the meeting, and I was like, hey, I have to clock out for my meeting. And she's like, couldn't you just make it past 4? And I'm like, no, like, we talked about this. Like, I have to leave for this. And she's like, oh, okay. So I left, and I was like, what time do I come back? And that was, like, how I opened up the conversation, was, what time do I come back? And she was like, wait, you're leaving? And I'm like, yeah. And then she never told me what time to come back. So I didn't go back yesterday, because I didn't know. And then they called me, and they were like, where are you at? And I was like, well, I didn't know what time he wanted me to come back, so I didn't know what to do. And I was like, and I can't come in today because I had just washed my clothes and I was letting them air dry, you know? And they're like, oh, okay, well, come in tomorrow. So I come in, and when I went in for onboarding, I was trying to read the little, like, handbook thing, and she's like, oh, don't worry about reading that. It's fine, like, you're gonna be fine. You don't need to read that. And she wouldn't let me read it. Like, she was like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, okay. So I just had to, like, click through it. Well, today when I showed up, they're like, you're breaking dress code, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know these things if you didn't even tell me? And they're like, yeah, you can't wear shorts. And the thing was like, the girl who told me you can't wear shorts was wearing shorts. And I'm like, okay. And then, yeah, so I only have these jeans at the moment, but they scheduled me for, like, the shittiest times. It's from, like, 7:30 to 4, Monday through Friday, so I can't do anything else. Like, I can't go to any, like, resource centers or, like, stop by Snap and see if I can get my Snap approved. I can't go get more clothes, because, like, I do have a $20 voucher to get clothes, but, I guess I'll have to wait till next week to do that, because it's, like, on sale on Wednesdays. I didn't even think about that. But, yeah, so, and, like, even, like, thrift stores and shit, like, it's all expensive. Like, back in the day, you could, like, buy a pair of jeans for, what, like, $1.50. Now they're, like, $20 for jeans. It's like, I could get these brand new for $20 or for $24, so why would I, like, buy it from a thrift store, you know? So, yeah, like, it doesn't really make sense, but they got me on these shitty ass hours. So I went to Burger King, and they're like, okay, I will put you on the schedule. The earliest you can get paid is June 5th, and the earliest Red Racks will pay me is June 7th. And I was trying to negotiate with them and, like, figure out a way I could get paid earlier, and they just started talking about, like, oh, we might fire you, and, like, trying to find reasons to fire me. But, like, what's kind of ironic is I was probably 3 or 4 times more productive than all the other employees. So, like, even if they tried to go up to higher up management and say, like, oh, we don't want this kid here, blah, 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 they're gonna be like, dude, he blew it out of the water, like, because, and then it'll come back on them as, like, they were the ones being shitty with their communication and not telling me my schedule. And, I was upfront, you know, about, like, I have other things I have to do or whatever. So, yeah. I don't really know what I'm going to do, because I have until Friday at Glenstone. And this other girl who works at the thrift store said that she also stays at Glenstone. And I was like, so how much do they charge a week? And I'm thinking $100, maybe less. Just take a guess how much a shitty little hotel is that charges weekly would cost. Yeah, $350 a week. I'm like, girl, why don't you just pay rent? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So I just have to make it till June, because once I get into that program, it'll only be $125 a week. but I'll also be making $20 an hour, and they're like, we'll set it up to where like it'll come out of your paycheck when you get paid, so you pay every 2 weeks like when you get paid. That way you're never short, you know. They're like, we don't want to have to kick you out, obviously. So the thing is with this program is it's going to be fiber optics, and they're talking a lot of money like once I get through training and stuff, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm lined up for Burger King now. My next shift is going to be on Sunday, which works out because I don't have to work for Red Racks on Sundays. But I'm just kind of like crossing my fingers that something else will come through. I talked to the Glow Center people, and I was there like a few days ago, like the day before I got the hotel, so it had to be like Thursday or Friday or something. Anyways, so I went up there and I was like crying. I was like, I've been up for 36 hours. None of the shelters will take me. Like, I don't know what to do. I've already been arrested twice just for being homeless. Like, if I keep getting arrested, it's going to become a felony, and I cannot stay up like much longer. And they're like, okay, we'll figure out something. So they managed to get me the hotel room, and I was thinking, okay, great, you know, then I'll get paid by Friday, right? No, like nowhere is willing to do that, and it's kind of insane. So yeah. Not really sure what I'm gonna do. I mean, like, even if I did get paid before Friday, it wouldn't be enough to cover like $350. Plus, you got to keep in mind I have to pay $169 for my phone bill on the 9th, and I still have to get my phone fixed. That's $100. And I have my gym membership I have to pay. That's like, I don't know, $28. And I gotta buy food, water. Like, I literally spent my last dollar on some water because like I was drinking tap water yesterday and I kept throwing up because like it's disgusting and like it's really bad. But yeah, so it doesn't really help, you know, and I'm limited on food, and then on top of that, throwing up because the water is literally making you sick. So I don't know. It's just, you know, you can tell that this place really isn't that great, you know? And I was trying to tell them, I'm like, you guys need to advocate for yourselves and, like, demand that they pay you more. And they're just like, I don't know about that. And, like, I was telling them, like, $15 an hour. And they're like, oh, no, that's not possible. I'm like, that's like, lowballing, you know? Like, you should be actually demanding probably $20, $21 an hour. But I never said that because, like, they even feel like 15 is too much. And, yeah, like, I don't really know. So I guess just kind of ride it out, because I did call the Glow Center again and explain to them that, like, I'm not going to get paid until the 7th. And I asked him, I was like, hey, oh yeah, when I was there on Friday, this guy came in and was, like, talking about how he has, like, I don't know if he has a dispensary or, like, what exactly his job is, but it has something to do with marijuana. And he was, like, talking about it's, like, $35 an hour. So I asked Aaron at the Glow Center if he would talk to him about it. He's like, yeah, I'll give him your number and everything. So I never did hear from him today. I'll probably call again in the future. Probably call Aaron again and ask him, like, hey, what am I going to do, you know, Friday when I'm going to have to check out. So who knows what's going to happen. But Ash has returned, which is kind of weird. Like, after a fucking year, he's like, oh, I want to talk to you. I'm so proud of you, blah, 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 blah. And what's, like, really weird is, like, our relationship was, like, for what, like, 2 weeks? Like, a year ago? So I'm not really sure why he came back, but after a year, he's like, I'm proud of you. I'm glad you got out of Memphis. And, like, he's also, like, apologizing. He's like, I'm so sorry that I did that to you and I brought you out there and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, like, you put distance between me and my shooter, and you got me up, you know, the road for another year. Like, I was able to survive for a year. Like, not even just survive. Like, I was able to live in Memphis and, like, do what I want when I want. And now that it's all, like, come to an end, and I come here, you know, somebody told me, they're like, oh yeah, you should have went literally anywhere else but here. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that. And they're like, well, you should have known because it's like the meth capital. I'm like, okay, well, nobody told me that. Google doesn't have that listed on the fucking reviews, you know. It just says like walkable city. So came here in hopes of that. I just been like looking for work. Couldn't find anything. Ended up losing the car because like Walmart was just so hell-bent on like stealing all of my stuff, and I don't know why. So I talked to Capital One today. It means that they're still calling with actual people, so I'm going to set my voicemail up to kind of inform them of what's going on, just because like I don't really think it should be my responsibility to tell them that it was stolen by Walmart, because like that's such a lawyer thing, you know. Like I don't want to be like talking and like say the wrong thing. So if they can reclaim it from them, you know, I seriously doubt they're gonna let me get my stuff. But that's, you know, even more of a challenge that I'm gonna have to like make up for, is like the fact I don't have my laptops, I don't have clothes, food, all that stuff. So, and like I said, working with Red Racks, it's like I can't just go to a food pantry or something like that, because they have me working during the hours that those kinds of places would be open, which doesn't make any sense. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do, because like even working there really doesn't even matter, because I'm not even going to get the money until the 7th. So it's like, why am I showing up, why am I working if I'm only getting paid $12.20 an hour and I'm not even going to be paid until the 7th? Like, what is that even going to do for me, right? Like, maybe cover my phone bill, like, I don't know. So I'm going to stick it out tomorrow, because like, yeah, I have to work 3 fucking shifts just to pay my phone bill, because like they refuse to pay people. Like, I don't understand it. So there's that, and then I've got a little bit of, you know, petty cash coming through with OnlyFans. It's like $30 to $24 or something like that I'll be able to get here in a few days. But I have nothing else. And I literally not sure what I'm gonna do. So, you know, like with as many people who just like ride around with their windows down, there needs to be like people who, like from Memphis, come in and just like GTA that shit, you know. When they're at these stoplights and shit, just walk up to them and be like, get out. You know, like, why not? It's ridiculous how much they just like ride around with their windows down. It's like, what are you, in the 80s? And they'll fucking ash their cigarettes out the window like they're in the fucking 70s or some shit. Like, the fuck? It's super weird. I guess that's meth for you, you know? It's the drug of decay. It like rots their brains. Makes them think shit like that's cool, you know? It's just brain dead activity. What this whole city is. I can't believe they brought me down to their level. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna get out. I'm just hoping that I make it till the training starts, and then it's like at that point I'll kind of start getting my footing back. And then once they actually start paying me, when they're talking about like $45 an hour, she started throwing numbers at me like $85 an hour, $100 an hour, depending on the contract. I can't go into details as to why they're paying me this much, but what I can say is it's big boy money from Japan. It's big boy money from our the US, and that's really all I can say about it. But yeah. Until then, I'm not sure what to do, because that's a really long way away to like have nowhere to stay, have like no money coming in, have like literally nothing, you know? And like one of the main bus stops is beside Walmart, and like I'm staying kind of close to Walmart, so like that's where I have to go a lot of times to catch the bus or to get off the bus. Every fucking time the security guard harasses me. I mean, they don't actually speak to me, but they'll like get as close as they possibly can, and like as I'm walking up the sidewalk, they'll just like drive like right next to me. I'm like, dude, get a fucking life, you know? Like, is your life that so pathetic that I'm the most interesting thing? And it was so long ago at this point, like, cause I've been in the hotel since Friday, and today's like Wednesday, and they're just obsessed with me. Like, I don't know why. I could understand them like coming near me if I was walking in their parking lot, but I'm on the sidewalk. They don't own that sidewalk, and they don't own the bus stop. You know, like I was sitting out at the bus stop one morning waiting for the bus, and they just kept on circling around behind me and like staring at me, and then stopping and staring at me, and then they'd roll their windows down and stare at me. I'm just like, bro, seriously. It's pathetic. They're so bored, you know? And that's like one of the things I've talked about before. It's like they'll see me or whatever, and then they'll like find a way to find me on social media, and it becomes this like really creepy bullshit. Somebody was like, oh, well, then just don't talk to them. But it's like instances like this, right? Or like they'll see you, and then somebody else just like knows you because they've seen you. It's not because I actually spoke to them or anything. It's just they all know each other, I guess. And that's another thing I've noticed is like they'll be getting on the bus and they'll just like be talking to each other like first names, like, oh, hey, James, or whatever. Like, but yeah, if you guys want to help me out, you know, I could use some socks and hand sanitizer, toothpaste, deodorant. That was another thing. Somebody sent me $10 for deodorant because they were like mad at Red Racks I didn't have deodorant, but yet they're not willing to pay me until the 7th. So like, like what the fuck do they want from me? You know, like they want me to steal it. Like I don't understand. And yeah, so they were like pissed off about that. And so one of my friends gave me $10, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll go get deodorant before I go to work. Literally the only place open before I had to be at work at 7:30 was Walmart and a gas station. Like everything else was closed except for stuff that was like more than an hour away because like you have to ride the bus or whatever. It's just a really sleepy little city. Like they don't wake up until like midday, and then they go to bed like midday. But yeah, so no, I went to the gas station, and it was like $8 for deodorant. I was like, oh my god. So I spent $8 for like a travel size deodorant, and now I have no money because I spent the last $2 on that water. So I don't know. Yeah. It's like water in my hands. It just slips through because like there's this list of things that I need, right? Like because I lost everything because Walmart was so hell-bent on forcing me to lose everything. Because they were like, from the beginning, they were like, we're going to tow your car. And I was like, this isn't my car. This is Capital One's car. So, you know, have fun with that. But if you do want that to happen, you're going to have me arrested. So then that's what they did. They were like, got me arrested twice because they just wanted me to lose all my stuff. Like, that was literally the only thing they wanted. It's just pure discrimination against homeless people. And then, but like, it's not just homeless people. It's like, it's the working class. Because I went online to leave a review, obviously. And there were people on there that were saying that they're truckers. And that if you're a trucker and you go in there, they automatically accuse them of stealing. And I was like, oh my god. But yet I've been in there so many times and like literally watched people shooting up. And like seen blood on the toilet papers where they clean their needles and shit. But yet a trucker goes in there and tries to buy lunch and they accuse him of stealing. I'm like, what the fuck? So it's not just me, it's, you know, like it's like a thing for some reason. Yeah. maybe they're on drugs, and it's like, oh, it's their friends, and then they like resent the working class because, you know, we represent something that they can't do. Sort of threatens them, you know. The amount of like unregulated vehicles I see in this city is really just mind-numbing. The police are more worried about harassing people like me who are just like trying to sleep so I can go to work than they are about like, I see the craziest things, like different types of like dirt bikes and shit that aren't street legal, people riding around with no license plates. They don't give a fuck about that shit. People driving recklessly, they don't give a fuck about that shit. But, you know, working class, nope. So, I shouldn't have came here. I should have just drove up to Washington. It was like 16 hours. But who knows, maybe this fiber optic thing will work out, and then it'll be like life-changing, because I'll be making like $85 to $100 an hour. And that would be pretty neat.